Nice.
I'm on top, I ain't looking down. Only when I'm riding dicks, when I'm looking down. Love pulling on his chains, missionary style. He like, baby, do y'all
stand up in the motor, bust the dashboard.
I just want you guys to know, there's no way that I'm gonna date a man that makes under $200K a year. That don't even make no sense. I'm not trying to struggle. I can struggle by myself, okay? Why would I want to struggle with a man? So if you're not making $200K, you can't date me. You trying to date me? I only date millionaires, baby. Like, you better get it right. Too many times you had it wrong. Don't be in my inbox. Working where? Where you work? That's the only question I got. Where you work? Then I could decide.
Okay, there are 8 million people in this city. Sounds like a lot, right? Half of them are women. So 4 million men. And then you gotta have some age limits. Let's say over 20,
keep it legal,
under 40.
Keep it sexy.
Now it's a million.
Right. We're talking about a million guys.
But half of them are married. 10% are gay. I want someone college educated, not too ugly, so...
There's your boyfriend.
I wish. He's gotta be taller than me, and he's gotta want kids.
I mean, what if I don't want to live the way you live?
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Andrea. Everybody wants this.
Alright, I saw one of my followers make a list of superficial dating requirements, so now I'm going to show you guys my list. Disclaimer, this is my preference. Again, it is superficial. If you want to argue, go argue with your mother, not me. Coming in at number 1, I need you to be at least 5'10". Listen, I'm a short girl. I'm only 5'2", 5'3", and this is where the logic comes in with that. If I'm wearing 3-inch heels, I am almost 5'6". If you are 5'7", 5'8", you're only 2 inches taller than me. If I can look you eye level, immediate ick. I don't want it. The difference between my height and your height when I'm wearing heels, it needs to be at a long distance relationship. You need to be bigger than me. And this is what I mean by that. I like to go to sleep in my man's t-shirt. I want to be like, hey babe, pass me a t-shirt. And that t-shirt, I need to be swimming in it. If your clothes fit me like my own clothes, you might as well be borrowing my clothes at that point. It's not going to work for me. It's going to give me another ick. I need you to know how to dress, okay? Because I'm bougie. I go out to hella events. I like to show up, show out on occasion. And there's a time and place to dress like a bum, okay? And I don't need you to be embarrassing me. Number 4, you cannot be dating me and have bad teeth. I am a dentist. It is embarrassing if you do that. We have Motto or Invisalign for straightening teeth. You don't even have to get the regular braces at this point. If you are collecting sneakers on a daily, you can be putting that money into monthly installments to fix your teeth. Also, please have good oral hygiene. I'm gonna need you to floss every day. Emphasis, every day. And to add to the teeth rule, if you're missing a tooth, goodbye. That means the decay was so bad, the tooth was non-restorable, and then you had to get it pulled. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This might be a controversial take, but I tried to date blue-collar men, aka men that don't have any type of degree. I'm not with it. I want a white-collar man. I have 3 degrees. I have my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate, so it kind of needs to make sense. Education is very important to me. I'm also Asian. It's instilled into my culture. I want you to at least have a bachelor's degree. It's a non-negotiable for me. Next point, provider mindsets. I'm going to need you to be making the same money as me or more. I'm going to only be dating in my tax bracket or higher because let's be real, men that make less money than me, and unfortunately it's a lot of men, they're going to feel incompetent. They're going to feel inferior because their ego gets in the way. I also want to retire soon. I want to be a part-time stay-at-home wife, and if you can't help provide that for me or provide the lifestyle that I can provide myself alone, then you're not adding anything to my life. Next. And lastly, I must like your voice. This is a big one. If I match with you on a dating app, I'm gonna send you a voice note. And then I need you to send me a voice note back. If I don't like your voice, I'm deleting you. That is all.
If he ain't paying, he ain't staying. Period. If you are a grown woman and you're dealing with a grown man who has his hand out at bill paying time, you with the wrong one. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Broke men always think you want their money. What money? Sprinkle, sprinkle.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
these are my requirements for dating. Moving forward, I want the password to your phone, the password to all of your social media accounts. I want to know that I am the only woman that you are pursuing. Even through the hard times, you're not seeking validation on Instagram, Snapchat, or paying $9.99 to some ratchet hoe on OnlyFans. My body will be the only body that you want to see naked, or we're not going to be together. If I'm not enough for you, we're done. Capiche? Capuche.
Ladies, if you have to make excuses for your men instead of bragging on them, you got the wrong one, okay? You need to wake up. You shouldn't have to make excuses every time someone asks you about your man and your relationship status and your financial status. That is not how it goes. If you have a man, a grown man that you're sleeping with, all you should be able to do is brag on him about how he did this for you, how he's helping you do that, how he makes you feel so good, how he does this for you, how he makes you feel like you're the best woman ever. That's all you should be talking about. You should be making excuses for him, like, well, he didn't come home last night because of this, or, well, he's having a hard time right now and because of this, and, well, he said he was going to do this. Okay, well, that sounds like a bunch of excuses, and like your man don't even like you. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Today's video is about a female dating coach and matchmaker named Rebecca Lynn Pope, and I have to give her a ton of credit for choosing to make less money by being honest with modern women. She has a message for those boss lady 304 types, because their expectations have become so unrealistic that she has quit matchmaking for women altogether. Rebecca made a video that went viral on YouTube, garnering millions of views. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the original video. She either took it down or it got flagged by feminists. Let's be real. The moment they don't like something, they act like a Karen ASAP. It's their default setting. Anyway, I found a repost of it on YouTube. It's about 21 minutes long, but I'll break down the most important parts so you don't have to watch it all yourself. So let's get balls deep into it.
Hello, this is Rebecca Lynn Pope coming on real quick. You guys know that I have been swamped lately, but I promised I would come on and just share my viewpoints on why women are just, many women, I'm not going to say all women, but many women are very, very unrealistic about their standards for men, dating, and marriage. So I'm going to give my opinion on this, and now listen, girls, I'm about to be very raw, I'm about to be very real, I'm about to just shoot it to you as just straight as I can, because I'm hoping that this helps somebody. Because as you girls know, I'm a matchmaker, and for a large part of the end of last year and beginning of this year, I stopped matchmaking.
Imagine making a living solely from matchmaking for women, and the entitlement has gotten so out of hand that you have to change careers. It's not like there's a shortage of single women, there's a surplus. Yet they're acting like they're the last women on the planet. They still don't understand that even if they were the last women on Earth, most men would choose nothing over them, which is very telling about how hard dating has become in the West. This video by Rebecca Lynn Pope is several years old, and even back then the entitlement was less than what we see today. Modern women's expectations have only gotten worse, making the dating scene even more challenging. Rebecca's decision to quit matchmaking for women wasn't because she didn't have clients, it was because the clients she had were impossible to satisfy. They were chasing a fantasy, holding out for the mythical perfect man, and rejecting anyone who didn't fit this unrealistic mold.
And the reason I stopped matchmaking is because I literally was I can't handle female clients. I was a matchmaker that matched females, and I had a few male clients, but predominantly I was matching women. And listen, it was such a valuable lesson for me, because what I learned is that the average woman doesn't really want just a good man. She doesn't want a husband. What she's really wanting are these standards or ideas that she has of what a man is supposed to be. But this is nothing what men are. This is not realistic.
Women used to be right out of high school getting serious with a guy, usually a high school sweetheart that she falls in love with. They get married, so how many men does she have to compare him with? Maybe one other guy that she dated and kissed on the cheek before she met her husband, but probably none. The guy she married is most likely the guy she has been in the bedroom with, which means she can fully parabond. He has 100% of her heart, and they'll be together for 50 years in counting. Still, Today's women, even the average-looking ones, by the time they graduate high school, they've been screwing since they were in middle school, and more likely because of that they hook up with the high school athletes who are physically the cream of the crowd, then they go straight to college and hook up with the college athletes, and if with the pro athletes and entertainers.
Once modern women reach adulthood, they've often dated men at the peak of their sexual market value. This makes it difficult for the average guy, who might only sleep with 3 women in his lifetime, to measure up to those high-caliber men in every aspect financially, physically, and intellectually. For many women in the West, this leads to disappointment. They may date multiple men, extracting the best qualities from each one, and then start to look for the perfect man. They want him to be funny because they had a fling with a comedian, physically built like the gym bro they dated, but also smart like the engineer who took them on expensive dates. They also want him to have money, not because they want to build something together, but because they want to be at the finish line and enjoy the rewards without the effort. This unrealistic checklist creates a scenario where the average guy can never compete, leaving these women perpetually unsatisfied and searching for an unattainable ideal.
For who men are, how they think, what they value, it's just this preconceived idea that women have of who men should be. But this is not reality, okay? So literally, the standards here that I see consistently in women that stay single, do not get married, and the difference between women and wives.
Most guys would love to be with a woman who is a solid 7, someone who is friendly, fit, modest, has a great personality, and loves to cook. This ideal partner doesn't need to be a millionaire or a professional athlete, she just needs to have these down-to-earth qualities. Realistically, this could describe around 40% of women in the West if they had those goals. However, many women today get drawn into the feminist lifestyle through indoctrination and social media. This modern influence often steers them away from the values and qualities that would make them great partners. Instead of focusing on building a relationship, they're often distracted by superficial goals and the attention they get from men, such as sugar daddies, promising a glamorous and effortless lifestyle. This shift in priorities and the allure of easy gratification makes it challenging for them to embrace the traditional roles and goals that would make them appealing to the average guy.
The second standard is this: you're comparing good men to, I can't say this, F-boys. I'm just gonna say it. You're comparing good men to the men that you've experienced previously who were not ready to be husbands, that you were just dating, messing around with. I mean, literally, there's a distinct difference between marriage material, men who are ready to be husbands, and these F-boys that you've been messing around with in and out of these situationships with for years. And so now you have this standard for a man and a husband based on these dudes that have just been playboys, fun, boy toys, whatever you want to call it, girls, okay? You can call it whatever you want. But now you set this standard to say he's supposed to look like this, he's supposed to act like that. Oh, you know what? He's too corny. He likes me too much. He texts me too much. Yeah, because the men that you were messing with, you weren't even the only one. They don't text you right back. They don't call you right back because they have 8 more just like you.
Absolutely, Rebecca Lynn Pope highlighted this reality perfectly. Men who have won the genetic lottery essentially live in a paradise with countless options, as women today often don't require a commitment to engage in intimate relationships. This phenomenon leaves average men feeling overlooked and undervalued, as the high-value men get all the attention without needing to commit.
Just being a good woman. So I'm thinking these women just want to be married. These women just want a good man. Nah, boo, that's not what they wanted. What they want is, if I'm going to pay this money, I want me a Michael Ealy. I want me a Boris Kojo. Well, look, boo, Boris Kojo's married. Last time I checked, Idris Elba's taken. These men are such a small percentage of the population. Do you guys understand that for a man to be over 6'2" is less than 3% of the population? And we're talking all men around the world, less than 3% of the population. Now you take out the gay guys and you take out the guys that are not black or whatever race specific that you prefer your husband to be, and you take out the men that are broke, and you take out the players, the men who are just not ready. and you are not ready to get married, aren't even looking for a wife, don't want that responsibility yet, think about these numbers. Less than 3%, less than 14% of the entire American male population is over 6 foot. Less than 14%. And that's all the married men and the men in prison, all of them, girls. So you're sitting around here like, oh, he's got to be 6 foot and he's got to look like this and he's got to make 6 figures or 7 figures. When you start at just height alone, do you hear the percentage that I just gave you on just height? Just height. And if you add in what he looks like looking like Idris and making money like this and that, honey, look, you looking for the come up for real because I don't know where he's at.
You make some valid points about the unrealistic expectations many modern women have when it comes to finding their dream man. The idea that they can order their ideal partner as if they were at a fast food restaurant is indeed quite telling. Let's break down your observations further. Top 10% of men. It's true that a relatively small percentage of men are over 6 feet tall, probably around 10%. Women often seek these men, not realizing how rare they are. This narrows their dating pool significantly and sets up unrealistic expectations. Transactional expectations. Many modern women expect to find a man who meets all their criteria without considering what they bring to the table. This transactional mindset often leads to disappointment, especially if these women are not in their prime or lack the qualities these high-value men seek in a partner. Post-wall realities. As women age, their market value in the dating world often diminishes, especially if they've had multiple failed relationships or carry emotional baggage from past experiences. Personality and contributions.
I was matchmaking, I would be like, man, I would go find these incredible men. And they would be like, oh, I would never date him. I'm like, I just went and found a freaking pilot, ex-Falcons player. Are you serious? But he don't look, it's like he's gotta be perfect. But you're not perfect. You got issues and unresolved issues, and you got a temper, and you're bossy, and you're controlling, and men don't even like to be around you long term. You run everybody away. You think you're so much the ish that you're bougie and vain and stuck up, and men don't like it. And you wonder why you can't keep a man. You wonder why nobody wants to be around you.
Didn't I just say that relationships and attraction is a two-way street? Even if there was mutual attraction, like one of these post-walls won the lotto and some top-flight man finds them attractive, there's 500 women just like that one woman waiting for their shot. Her personality has to be perfect, or he moves on. She complains once or nags once or talks about her ex once. Out of the blue, she's disqualified, and he moves on to the next. Rebecca Lynn brought a thought, an actual NFL player, or at least former, and that still wasn't good enough if you think cat ladies are miserable now and Karens are out of control now. Wait till these TikTok thoughts and IG thoughts hit the walls several times. A lot of these chicks with social media who have been flown out by the top-tier men, they might delete themselves. When reality finally hits them, we might have the great deletion of 304s in 10 to 20 years.
Literally, they're false standards. They're ridiculous standards. You know what? I'm not gonna settle. But in the meantime, boo, you're not even half the things that you have on your list as requirements for a man. You're not even half those things. But you want that in a man. And you don't want to build with anybody. You don't want to build a life together. Listen, honey, you better find yourself a Build-A-Bear. You need to find yourself a Build-A-Boo. Okay, somebody that meets some requirements of who you want in character, your values, integrity.
I'm going to pause right here because let's face it, these 304s are a lost cause. They've got zero values and character. There's absolutely nothing to build with these entitled bedwenches who've coasted through their entire dating lives on easy mode. Building something substantial requires real sacrifice. We're talking about downsizing to a cramped one-bedroom apartment in a blue-collar part of town, because every extra dollar is going into a business venture. No lavish vacations until that business shows consistent profit for 3 straight years, or until the man finally lands that promotion. That's not the glamorous Instagram life they can flaunt to their fellow thoughts.
I came from dating Mr. Gorgeous. I came from dating Mr. Trainer. I came from dating Mr. Baller. I was flying here and doing this and that. And at the end of the day, all of them were players. They were F-boys.
As you saw, the matchmaker herself had her fair share of being flown out until she quote-unquote settled. At least she's sharing her real-life experiences dealing with these top percentile men, which is what actually happens. Because at the end of the day, why should these 3% men settle when so many attractive females in the West are giving it up for free by the busloads? If he's a baller, these thoughts will drop their panties. If he's rich, they'll drop their panties. If he's got 1 million Instagram followers, they'll drop their panties. If he's an entertainer, that'll drop their panties.
And that's just not how it works. Because until a man is ready, he is not going to choose you. It doesn't matter how you put it down in the bedroom. It doesn't matter what kind of values. It doesn't matter how big your butt is and what you look like. Until a man is ready, he is not settling down. And literally, I'm literally writing this. So my compromises came because I had these standards, just like most of you, that were way up here because I had all these experiences that created an appetite. It created a false standard in my life of what I thought I deserved or what I thought I needed. But yet it was a false standard because none of them were men of God.
As you saw, even the matchmaker herself had her share of being flown out until she settled. At least she's being real about her experiences with these top-tier men. Because here's the reality: why should these 3% men settle down when there are so many attractive women in the West practically giving it away for free? If he's a baller, these thoughts will drop their panties. If he's rich, they'll drop their panties. If he's got 1 million Instagram followers, they'll drop their panties. If he's an entertainer, guess what? They'll drop their panties.
And so like many of you, I had these standards. I had a type. Let's be real, girl. I had a type. My type was businessman. My type was CEO. My type was getting it done. My type was literally go-getter. 6- and 7-figure men running companies. Those are the only kind of men I was in relationships with. Okay, that's what I was committing to. I played with some boy toys from that instead of F-boys, okay, girls? Boy toys. I played around thinking I was trying to be serious because of lust. So many of you have fallen in lust. And then you think and now you want love and you're trying to compare it to lust. And that's not how love works. So you date Mr. Gorgeous and he's got the 6-pack and he's 6'4" and he's chocolate. And then you date the Mr. Baller and he got money and you in the Benz and you whipping and you flying and you drinking and dinner, whining and dining. And at the end of the day now, you created an appetite for yourself, or you, better yet, maybe you haven't even experienced it for yourself like me, but you want it. So you're on Instagram and you're looking at people's lifestyles and you're looking at people on the scene, traveling and doing all this and comparing yourself and saying, why can't I have that? I want that life too. And then when a good man comes along, you're comparing him saying, no, he's not giving me that lifestyle. I want that I see other people having. I deserve that. I'm just as pretty as that. I need to get me a man that's a baller too. And so now you have these false standards, whether you've experienced it or whether you just want it.
Let's paint a picture. Imagine her husband saved up for a dream trip to the Caribbean, splurging on first-class tickets and a 4-star hotel room with an incredible beach view and room service. Sounds impressive, right? Well, not so much when you compare it to the 5-star treatment she received when she was dating businessmen and CEOs. The truth is, nothing her husband or most men can do will impress these modern women because, frankly, they've probably experienced it all before. You might buy a boat for local lake adventures, wakeboarding and water skiing, but they've been on some fat, hairy, crusty dude's yacht in the middle of the Mediterranean. You can't make this up. This dating coach had access to a plethora of millionaires, yet she ended up empty-handed. She dated them, but none of them put a ring on her finger. That's the reality for many modern women who are 7s or above. They've had multiple chances with their dream men, while the average guy in the West would be lucky to find one lady worth marrying. And with the marriage laws stacked against him, even if he does find her, it's a massive risk. This is exactly why men are going MGTOW or becoming passport bros. What are your thoughts? Share them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads. See you next time.